And welcome to the Real World Blockchain Podcast, where we help businesses understand the world of cryptocurrencies and how this industry can fuel their business. This episode is brought to you by Web3 Enabler, the first and only Web3 payment solution in Salesforce. I am Gauthier Lamothe, your host, and today I am with Niles Smith, our blockchain connoisseur. Sorry, I mispronounced your name, Niles Smith, and Zoe Braiterman, our community empress of technology and many other things. Hi, guys. Hi, Niles. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Gauthier.
Alrighty, first
How you
news of the
doing?
day. First news of the day is Godaddy to charge $0 for ENS.ETH name pairing. So, please, Zoe, explain that to us as if we were total morons.
I don't think you need to pretend here.
Well, GoDaddy makes registering and managing your domains quite easy and intuitive through a very usable user interface. And having that pairing with ENS for free makes ENS a lot more usable. So, and again, for free, it previously would have taken a lot of gas fees, and now it's free. So just that said, and the UX is it's very innovative. It allows people to really integrate ENS in their online presence and all the implications that ENS has, for example, for anonymity, as far as content creation or payments, or any uses of ENS can be done directly from a domain. And the DNS domain is also indexable by Google, so there are implications with that as far as brand and reputation. So it's really interesting, and I definitely look forward to learning more about that.
Wonderful. So, ENS, also known as Ethereum Name Service, basically was already something interesting because they already added fiat payments in order to have ENS domains, and now they seem to be to be basically really into domain names. And I think there was a competitor named Unstoppable Domains. They allowed users to buy ethname.eth names, and because GoDaddy had this Unstoppable Domains company as a competitor, it's a very logical step for them. Niles, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned unstoppable domains because now they are listing .eth names. Unstoppable also has some of their own, such as .x, .bitcoin, .wallet. But as we've seen, .eth is the king.
And
We have atomic .eth. We have people on Twitter identifying with their .eth names.
but
And
yeah,
now this is another level that we're able to add into the Web 2 world
and
by linking people's own websites and companies. As we've seen, like Anheuser-Busch has beer.eth. Like this isn't just something that we in the crypto world sort of like use as a toy. It really is a tool.
wonderful, yes. It kind of makes sense because a few years ago, basically almost a decade ago, when Ethereum thrived and started, becoming popular, everyone was thinking, okay, this is what was missing from Bitcoin, not something just for payment, but something for other pieces of tech. So here we are now. We have very mainstream ETH domain names, and so many people are going to use that. That's probably going to be very interesting also for companies.
Absolutely. And I think that this is also something where um, it revolutionizes our UX by allowing people to remember wallet addresses, right? Because we've all been looking at Ethereum wallet addresses, Bitcoin. I mean, that's not really on here, but like other ones are coming out with these name services. And like, I'm not going to remember that. If you copy and paste, which is a problem because if there is some sort of virus that is going to be attached to your clipboard,
Mhm.
you might not even notice that the string has changed because it's so freaking long.
Absolutely, yes.
But now you can go and type in, I'm going to be like, hey, Gauthier, I'm paying you right there, because like it's going to be just as easy as using like a username or making sure that you're typing in the right website.
Quite interesting for security purposes indeed. All right. Off we go then to the second news of the day. Again, in the payment industry, many very interesting partnerships are promising, but this one is great. So you guys know that Coinbase and Ledger were kind of flirting with each other. Oh, I don't know, maybe, or yes, or maybe, oh, please come closer. And so,
Dave, recording, it's Valentine's.
yeah, and you know, we're shooting this episode on February 14th. So yes, indeed, Coinbase and Ledger are collaborating, and this is increasing access to crypto. So basically, you can on-ramp and off-ramp from and to Ledger, and thanks to Coinbase. So what's your take on that, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like it's interesting that we were just talking about Robinhood and MetaMask last week.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are with another company being on-ramped onto a cold storage wallet versus, I mean, MetaMask being hot, but it's still non-custodial. And having this partnership and recognition by these companies that is important to allow users to really own their own funds is interesting, because Coinbase and Robinhood both benefit when users hold their funds on their platform, and allowing for that transfer is an interesting move.
Fascinating. All right. And, you know, it's interesting because Ledger CEO, the CEO, sorry, CEO, but not Chief Executive Officer, but Chief Experience Officer. Nowadays, we have chiefs for everything and chief officers for every position, literally. But Ian Rogers basically said, you know, Coinbase and Ledger are two of the only companies in crypto for longer than 10 years. And it's true. It's interesting to see heavy hitters doing that. And it's interesting because they share customers already. So this makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I use both. Full disclosure.
Yeah, I happen to do that as well. Right.
In general, no matter what it is, managing fewer apps is just so useful and such a relief for us all.
Yeah, actually, that's quite interesting because the other day I was consulting for a company, and one person told me, "Oh gosh, actually centralizing everything to a layer 1.5. So you have a layer on the blockchain that allows to use the same database from one app to another. So then the UX is on layer 2. Just what our friends at Talent Layer do. They are doing standard database that can be used on Fiverr, on Malt, on any talent providing company like Upwork or anything like that. But you have the same layer of potential contractors, and that person was telling me, oh gosh, with the blockchain you could do that with what we're doing, because basically their standard workflow is to integrate data from an app to another, then to just export a dump CSV file, then to try to make the other CSV file match with another one, then to plug in Row and ChatGPT to query the AI to make the two columns match from one CSV to another, and then put that on Salesforce, and then integrate that to your other AI, and then put that in your other Trello and Slack, and you've basically spent 4 hours logging data into 10 different platforms, each of them costing $10 per user and per month, and before you know it, you're becoming bald because of stress, and you haven't done any productive work. And so indeed, if we see that in payments, I would love to see other applications in the world of, using the blockchain as a standard layer for many applications, and maybe it could also challenge the dominance of Make.ai or Zapier with something smoother, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we can all dream for.
Absolutely, but in the world of payment, this is already a reality, thanks to many people. And you said it's not custodial, indeed, and quite interestingly, 8 in 10 crypto users in the US are currently using Coinbase as their custodian. So yeah, indeed, that's quite a big move then.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about decentralization then, though.
Well, I mean, I think that we can all agree that there is a place for these custodians,
Yeah,
and it allows for easier on-ramping and off-ramping within our traditional like financial systems. But at the end of the day, I think that Coinbase is honestly fighting for us, and we've seen this whether or not it's through legal action or building out their own layer 2 base, which is a great contribution to the entire ecosystem. And it's not something where they're just trying to go and consolidate all the coins and like hoard them like some smog.
absolutely.
Like they really are, at least I believe, trying to build out the entire ecosystem.
Oh, that's
in
a
way
serious
that
business, yeah.
others don't have the depth.
They're a serious business, and on top of that, not everybody has to be a super techie in order to be able to use something. I like many geeks. I have been ranting about how well Linux's distributions are thought out and how better it is compared to Windows. And one thing I came to to realize when I grew older is that sometimes you're just acting as a zealot again. Even though Linux is great, your grandmother wants to use iOS or Windows or something like that because it's quite simple. And that's the same thing. I don't think, my grandma would like to have a wallet in order to pay for her coffee or her bread, not care about the self-custody or things like that. Yes, it's very legitimate then to have a service that provides that custody, and yes, it's not as secure, but that's the trade-off. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess grandmothers and corporations think the same in that regard.
they have a reason to do that, and of course there are also educated people trained in the subtle art of information safety who will always prefer having their own homemade router and their own Linux distribution and also their own crypto wallet, for obvious reasons as well. There's a place for many different things. Any last word about this, guys? Thank you so much, Dan. Today,
Decentralization.
thank you so much for listening to the Real World Blockchain podcast. This tiny episode was brought to you by Web3 Enabler. Notes and disclaimers can always be found below. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and follow us everywhere. Cheers, guys.